Salut and welcome to my channel. I'm Akshara, and in the last video I spoke all about the similarities and differences about the TEF and the TCF Canada exam. Before you start this video, I would suggest you to go check that one out so you get an entire idea about both of the exam structures. Now, in this video, I will be talking about the other things which you have to keep in mind before choosing between these two exams, and I'll also be sharing my personal experience as well. So go subscribe to my channel right away and let's dive right into the video. Okay, so to begin with, there are so many factors that you should keep into account while choosing these exams. If learning French is one thing, giving the exam and clearing it is a whole other task altogether. So you need to choose what works out for you. To begin with, TCF conducts exam only 4 times in a year in each center, basically once in every quarter, and it's very similar to your DELF exam, DELF and the DALF exam. TCF is conducted by the same body that conducts the DELF exam, which is the CIEP on behalf of the French Ministry of Education. On the other hand, TEF Canada exam has a lot more frequency and it's conducted in a lot more centers. At least that is the case in India. And it is conducted by the Le Francis des Affaires on behalf of the CCI Paris, Ile-de-France. Coming to the centers, both the exams are conducted by the Alliance Francaise. They are the official exam partners for these exams. But typically, each center functions in its own way. So, one center either offers TEF or TCF exam. Rarely, they offer both of these exams. At least, that's how it works in India. The time period that is taken to give out the result for both of these exams, which is stated by the board for both of these exams, are between 2 to 4 weeks. But from what I have seen, TEF exam results come way faster, sometimes even under a week. Once I received the result in just 4 working days. I think if I can recall, actually 4 calendar days when I wrote the exam in one of the centers in India. But with what I've seen with respect to TCF is that typically they take a lot more time to give out the result. Sometimes, some of these centers have even said that they take between 4 to 8 weeks. But it really depends. There are so many factors that, go into account when you're talking about results here, and that really varies from center to center as well. So the next important thing to note with TCF is that you can apply for a sectional reevaluation for the sections Expressio Écrite and Expressio Oral, which is the writing and the speaking section. If you feel that your scores were unfair in these sections, you can appeal for a retake. But of course, you cannot apply for the Comprehensio Oral and the Comprehensio Écrite section because they are MCQs and they're very objective in nature. But in order to apply for a sectional reevaluation, there is an additional cost for this as well. On the other hand, when you talk about TEF, you cannot apply for a sectional reevaluation unless and only if there was any error from the center side, or there was a technical error, there was some external problem. But if you feel that you were unfairly marked, you cannot appeal for a reevaluation in TEF. But if you feel that there was some disturbance or there was some problem with the software or anything like that, then you can appeal for a recourse for any section. It can be any of the section, and you will have to retake the entire section, not the whole exam, or you can even appeal for multiple sections. For example, I had a technical glitch with the Expressio Écrite section when I was giving one of my exam, and I was able to appeal for that because there was a technical glitch, and I was given the chance to write the exam without no additional cost. The cost of the entire exam for both of these exams are very similar, but you will have to check with the respective center, as sometimes the exam pricing from region to region varies. So you will have to, check with the center. Coming to my experience and the reason why I chose what I chose, which was the TEF Canada, was initially I was exposed to majorly TEF related information. I opted to give TEF because the frequency of exams and also the number of centers from which I could choose was a lot more. If I wanted to give TCF, I had to wait for a longer time. So I basically went in to give TEF. Also, at that point, I felt like reading and listening sections of TEF was way more easier than the TCF. But eventually, after giving two attempts of TEF, people started suggesting me that, you should go for TCF because TCF is easier and things like that. I did look into the structure of TCF in detail, but I wasn't very keen on switching strategies at that point. There's also another speculation that goes around for, between the TEF and TCF is that for clearing TEF, you need a upper B2, which is the B2 plus, the higher B2 level. But in TCF, there is no higher or lower B2. So people say that if you're almost close to clearing in TEF and fall short by a few points, you can easily clear TCF, especially the writing and the speaking section. So when I fell short by just 2 points in writing section and I cleared all other section in one of the exam that I gave, I was really tempted to switch to TCF. And I started to study the structure and felt even though the language is same, I was conditioned to the structure of TEF, and I found it a little challenging to switch between the structure again. Now, I don't really know if the level of B2 is expected to be a little lower in TCF than TEF, but with my experience, I can definitely feel that French language in TCF is a little more complex than TEF. Like, the content itself, and that is the reason maybe why, the level expected is a little lower. But again, I cannot deny or confirm as I don't have any technical information or understanding on this particular thing. Another reason I kept choosing TEF was due to the fact that results come in faster when compared to TCF. I was always very anxious and I couldn't wait for a long time. Some of the TCF centers, like I said, say that they take about 4 to 8 weeks, and I did not want to sit around waiting for the results. As if I didn't clear the exam, I would have to again go back into studying, and then that was a whole other saga again. So it does take time to for you to get the next slot, and there's a 30-day gap between each exam, and there's just a lot of calculations that goes into preparing for when and which exam center to appear at as well. Well, having said all this, if now I was to prep for the exam all over from the start, at this point, I feel like I would personally go with TCF because of the change in pattern in TEF has made the reading and listening a little more complex, and which is basically at the same level of difficulty as TCF. And I think the writing and speaking section in TCF is a lot more fun and realistic to deal with. It is more relatable, and trust me, you get like a lot of bizarre topics in TF for the section A of writing, which is the Fed section. You end up taking so much time, in just coming up with the ideas because the topics are like so strange and confusing. So I feel like the topics in TCF, at least with writing, it is a lot more natural, a lot more, in touch with reality. And for considering all of these things, I feel like I would go with TCF if I was to start from the beginning. The thing was, I found it hard to switch between strategies of both of these exams when I started preparing for one exam and then I had to, go into preparing for another. That I found a little hard, but if I'm to begin all over again, I would definitely go to TCF at this point of the time. Also, at the end of the day, it really depends on case to case, right? Based on the centers that are accessible for you, and also how you do in each section and what your strengths are. Like I discussed in the previous video, we spoke about how, listening in TCF is a little harder because the questions are not shown, or, I feel like writing is a little easier in TCF. So it really comes down to what are your strengths, and you really need to work around it, and then you would be able to take a better call between both of these exams. Every center, be it for TCF or TEF, has their own different way of registration process, and you need to keep that in mind and follow the processes accordingly. Some of them ask you to send across the application form through a post, whereas some centers, you need to be waiting, and whenever a slot opens up, they straight away ask you to make the payment, and they just straight up give you the date. It does take up some time for you to understand all of that, but I'm sure you'll definitely get around it. So, yeah, if you're looking to book an exam and you're confused between both of these and you would want me to help you out with making a decision objectively, you can definitely reach out to me. I will leave the link in the description below. And I guess I've covered most of the important things that will help you make a decision about which exam is better for you. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. And if you want me to make videos on a specific topic, do let me know in the comment section. That's it for now. Good luck on your friend journey. Make sure to enjoy it, and I'll see you in the next one. Abhiyanto.